Welcome to the Boss Woman Network podcast. We spotlight powerhouse women and we are redefining success and creating impact. Today, I am joined by Miss Jessica Okori,
Hi, y'all.
an entrepreneur who began her journey at just 16 years old, y'all, and has spent nearly a decade building businesses from beauty and fashion to a successful lash empire across 2 states. Jessica is also the founder of the award-winning nonprofit Jesus Walks With Her, which has cultivated a thriving community of over more than 50,000 followers. Wow. In just 1 year, too. Through her work with CEO Solutions and her nonprofit, Jessica is helping women not only grow businesses, but also deepen their walk with Christ while building real community. Welcome, Jessica.
Hi, thank
Thank
you. That
you.
was a lovely introduction. You covered everything.
Yes, I like to make sure I give a warm welcome to the
hmm
guests. So let's start out. Tell us about your entrepreneurial journey at 16. That is so incredible, y'all.
hmm
16 years old. Can you take us back to those early days and share what motivated you to start so young?
Yeah, so I was in high school. My mom, she was raising us by herself. My dad was gone for a long period of time, so there's four kids in the house. I'm the third, so I could see the struggle my mom was having. She's a nurse, so she was
Hmm.
always working, and I know like she did have a good job, but taking care of four children on your
Yeah.
own, it takes a toll on you. So from a young age, just seeing that, it made me have that ambition to be like, I want to do as much as I can, anything that I can to help her, even if it's just a little bit, being able to buy my own clothes, shoes,
Hmm.
that kind of thing. Because I always felt bad, like having to, ask her, hey, mom, can you
Yeah.
do this, when I know she has a lot on her plate. So I had a friend that braided my hair all the time, and so she kind of started teaching me how to braid hair. And so
Hmm.
I learned pretty quickly, and I was like naturally just great at it. So from that point on, I started my own hair business, and I started taking clients in my room at home and
Wow.
started braiding their hair, and I was charging like $80
Yo, you was making
for
good money.
exactly. I was charging like $80 for box braids, for twists, things like that. And it really started building very quickly, like even in high school. And of course, at such a young age, you don't really have that structure
Right.
in business. So I just had like, word of mouth, telling people. It was mostly close friends and people that knew me. That knew I knew how to do hair. So that's how I would get my clients. And eventually, as I got older, like 18, 19, I continued and it got better. I created a hair page that showed my work. I had like a booking site and that kind of thing, created my prices. So that's pretty much how I got to, do things on my own in my teenage years and pay for the things that I wanted. And then also saving up for college along with what I got during my graduation. I spent that summer doing a lot of hair and made a lot of money to kind of put in my
Wow.
savings and to, for that first year, just be okay as a freshman.
Wow, I know your mom was proud for
Yeah.
you to start helping out. I know you were helping out and everything at the house.
hmm
So what did you go to college for? What was your degree in?
So I actually ended up getting a volleyball scholarship at Fayetteville State University. I started off as a biology major, which to me, looking back, is crazy because that's so not me. But I'm Nigerian, and in our culture, it's like, your parents want you to be doctors and
Yeah, I
engineers and
heard.
everything. So my parents were like, you should be a physical therapist. Like, that really fits you. It's and I had a family friend, she was a physical therapist. So I was kind of watching her and I'm like, oh, she's successful. This seems cool. So I was like, let me major in biology. But I got to school and I'm like, this is not
Not
for
me.
me. It's not me at all. I was snoozing during class and it just wasn't for me. So when I got to school, I was still doing hair and things like that in my free time when I wasn't playing volleyball. But it was when COVID hit that
Mm,
things kind of changed and
mm.
like the ball really started rolling. So in 2019, when COVID hit, school shut down. So I moved back to Atlanta
Oh
and I
yeah.
moved back home and I'm like, okay, I can't really take clients doing hair anymore because it's in proximity. What can I do? So I was like, let me start an online business. So I started selling lashes and hair and wigs and things like that online. And that was really my first form of income that was like blew up, like making $1,000 a day, selling
Whoa,
wigs, selling
whoa.
bundles, that kind of thing. And that was my baby. It was called Lavish Girl Enterprises. And yeah, that was what I worked on during that COVID era for a long
Mm.
time, was just my online store, creating that. pushing that on Instagram, on social media, all kinds of things. So I kind of leaned towards that. And then I learned how to do lashes, and that is when things changed even more.
Wow.
And at that point, I was making a lot of money, so I ended up dropping out of school. I did change my major before I dropped out to accounting. I thought I wanted to do that because it fit me a little bit better. I was really good at math, so I was like, let me try accounting. But I ended up putting a pause on school because it was very hard for me to pursue my business dreams full time and then also be a full time student. So I put a pause on that and I chose my business for a while. Of course, my family wasn't really happy about
I
that.
bet.
Yeah. But I had faith that God would lead me in this aspect, and I wanted to bet on myself. So I got certified to do lashes August 2020, I believe. By December, I was doing lashes full time. Like, I wasn't working for anybody but
The
myself.
extensions?
Yeah, the
Oh,
lash
wow.
extensions. Yeah.
Yeah.
I started my lash business. It was called CEO Lash Me, and I was full time by December in 3 months. And that first year doing lashes, I made 100K. Like, I
Wow.
was doing full time. I got a suite. I was like, that era was like, I would go out and I would see so many people that I did their lashes. Like, word of mouth
Wow.
referrals, the marketing aspect, I had that. So that took off very quickly. I ended up doing a lot of celebrities' lashes and influencers, especially being in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
It's very to get into that industry. So that was what I focused on for a long time. For 3 years, I was doing that full time. So,
Wow. So you've been from hair to lashes. It's like everything you touch just takes off.
yeah.
That's beautiful. So then you went back to school?
Yes.
So what did you end up doing?
So when I went back, I decided to go back to school last year was when I started. I only had a year and a half left, so I think God really pushed me in that direction to go back to school. And now I'm in business management, which is
That's
perfectly
good.
what fits me. And I'm so glad I made that decision to go back, and it wasn't on anybody's time, but it was in my timing and God's timing. And I really think that it gave me the pieces that I needed. So I had the experience, but the foundational knowledge and education of running a business, the behind the scenes stuff, the administration, the legal parts of it, that is what I'm learning in school.
Oh,
So
that's
putting
good.
those two together has really equipped me to, it's like, if I was like that before without the knowledge, it's like, okay, now I have this missing piece.
It's gonna take you
has,
to a whole nother.
Yeah, it's definitely kicked a fire under me to go to another level.
I mean, already 50,000 women in your nonprofit organization. So it's like everything you touch just turns to gold.
Yeah.
How did you end up in Houston from Atlanta?
Right. So I traveled before I came to Houston. I was actually in Raleigh, North Carolina. So after, like I said, COVID happened, I came home. And then I started doing my lash business. I moved out of the home. I got my own place. And then I was like, you know what? I want to move to another area and see how my business can do over there. Like, maybe have a dual city lash business. And I went to school in North Carolina. So I was kind of missing my friends and my community over there. So I moved to Raleigh, North Carolina, and I started over. And even then, it was kind of hard rebuilding my business in that state because it's much different than Atlanta. It's slower paced. There's an older demographic there. But luckily I was in the middle of 3 HBCUs or 3 colleges.
Okay.
So most of my clients were, college students and things like that. But of course, college students, they're not willing to pay as much. So I did have to lower my prices, which means lower profit. So I did take that profit cut, but I was happy that I was still able to be a full-time lash tech within 6 months of being there and rebuilding that business. So I stayed in Raleigh for about 2 years. And the second year I was there, I ended up rededicating my life to Christ after a certain incident that happened. And from that moment, God started redirecting me somewhere else. So the vision that I had for being a lash tech, I had started making my own products, and I wanted to transition to just being an instructor and a supplier.
Okay.
And I had this dream of like, I'm going to open my own shop one day and all of that stuff. And God was like, no, that's not what I have for you, girl. That's not what I have for you. Put it up, put it away. So that was really hard to kind of just stop doing lashes and trust God and trust what he was showing me. So in that period of time, I just kind of sat with God and was getting to know this new me and just listening to his voice. And that was when he directed me to Houston. And I do have family here in Houston. So it was reconnecting with them, And so I decided to move and start over here. And even then, I still had in the back of my mind, like, Houston is kind of like Atlanta. You know, if I want to do lashes over here, I could be a big lash stylist. But I was like, girl, no, stick to the script. So that was when he started showing me things of women's ministry and how I remember having a dream that I was helping women. Like women were coming to me and I was giving them godly counsel and I was connecting women. And that's kind of how that organization started. It actually started off as a small blog of me just showcasing my journey with Christ. And then it ended up blowing up. And I was like, I should turn this into a group. Women are looking for community. I need community.
Yeah.
And why don't I just create this space? So that was when I created Jesus Walks with Her. And I opened it to women coming to, you know, connect with other women in Christ, to get the community they need, the support they need, to be discipled, to create a safe space where they can show up transparently, because I was seeing a problem of people feeling like in the church they can't be themselves, or in the church they're being too judged, or they don't want to admit that they're struggling with this and they can't show up authentically in their walk. So I wanted to create a space where it's like, you don't have to pretend here. Like we're all on this same journey. We're all going to mess up. We're all going to be learning. So let's learn together. Let's help each other and let's support each other on that journey. So that was the space I created. We also host Christian social events. So I know another problem is like, okay, I used to be in the club all the time and doing all this stuff. I don't want to be in that life anymore. So what can we do? So now I started creating events where it's like, it's still fun. It doesn't involve indulging in these things of the world, but it's still fun. You can come, you can create sisterhood and things like that and have fun. So that's what Jesus Walks with Her is. And we ended up growing immensely on social media in such a short period of time. And that was just the fruits of what it looks like walking with God and being obedient. So
wow. 2 questions. I'm not even looking at my questions here because you're just being guided to ask other questions. So for one, business side, what is your marketing technique to build community in every business that you've tried to start? What are you doing to make people just gravitate towards the brand of product?
Right. So there's 2 aspects to this. One is the social media marketing, and then one is just client experiences and people experiencing me. And I think one thing that's important to me is showing up authentically, whether it's online or in person. And I've never created this facade of like, oh, I'm the perfect business owner or I do this. It's just showing up as myself and making videos and targeting my specific audience, keeping up with the trends, like, you know, analyzing what's going on social media, using the stuff that's trending, tailoring it to your audience, to what you're doing, and being consistent. I think a lot of time people stop posting once they feel like, oh, this video only got 1 like or 100 views. But for me, it's like, whether or not I'm getting views, this is what I love to do, and I'm going to show up regardless. So I kept posting 2 times a day, 3 times a day, every single day, posting, reposting, even if other people aren't reposting my stuff, still supporting myself and showing up, because if I don't show up for myself, who will? Is? Yeah. So making sure I was super consistent with that, and then I started seeing the fruits of that. I think also I've been blessed with skills of just creativity. And so coming up with ideas in my head of like, oh, this would be funny, or this would be very interactive, and just kind of putting those together. And I think from starting business at such a young age, I had to learn things myself, because nobody else in my family was really a business kind of person, except my dad, but he wasn't around. So I had to teach myself how to market. I had to teach myself how to edit, how to make graphics, and just having a few years of making mistakes and learning, I'm able to have these resources and the skills I need to put things together. So I think that plays a huge part in my marketing, just creating a strategy and knowing who my audience is and tailoring to their needs, not what I think they're going to like, but actually knowing what they like and putting out that kind of content. And then the other aspect of it is, when I was doing lashes, I had great relationships with my clients. Like we talk, like we have girl talk while I'm doing their lashes. They feel very close to me. Like I treated people well. I had great customer service, and the work I was doing was great. I would do people's lashes, and I was known for having long retention. So 4 weeks, they still have their lashes on. 6 weeks, they still have their lashes on.
Great work.
It's like, you know, of course I'm gonna tell everybody about her so she can, you know, they can come. So I think that's another part of it, is investing into my client and customer experience, making people feel good, making them enjoy what they're coming to me for, not just for the money, but I love doing this and I want you to love coming to me and I want you to love the experience we have together. So I think those two really is what made things, blow up on social media. And even with the nonprofit side, I really don't know. Like, that happened so fast. I moved here in October.
Last year?
October 2023.
2023, okay.
By January, February, I had hit like 10,000. And then I had like 200 members join the actual group. Within a couple months, it was like 25K, 30K, 40K.
Wow.
And this year we've hit, at the top of the year, we were already at 45. So
just from Houston people?
Yeah, just from Houston people.
Wow.
And there, in the group itself, for the members, there were people from all over the world. We had somebody from Trinidad. We had somebody from South Africa, people from England. So many people, I was able to touch people globally. And then since it's a virtual thing, before we started doing in-person events, everybody was just in the group chat. We would have Bible studies weekly and a prayer line and that kind of thing. So I kind of use the same method of just showing up and posting, being consistent, being very open with my journey with Christ. And I think that's something people really connected on.
Right.
And I was definitely hitting a need in the community. So you have to know what people's needs are. What is needed in our environment today? What is needed in our market? And I knew people need community.
They do.
There's this wave of Christians, people being born again, people giving their life to Christ. And I'm seeing that and I'm like, yeah, but they gave their life to Christ. What's next for them? Right. Do they have the community to keep guiding them? What do they want to know? So me growing up in a Christian household, I did have that background already, but now I had got to a point where it's like, no, I'm really submitting and I really want to give my heart to God. So I felt like I do have a little bit of that knowledge to kind of guide other people, but also to be alongside them. You help me, I help you. Let's have this community together. So just being very transparent about my journey, the things I've struggled with in my past that maybe some people would be embarrassed to share, but I want to connect with people on that level and I want to show people what God is doing in my life and what he can do in their life. So I think that played a part in how big that blew up quickly.
How do you feel so comfortable being your authentic self and letting people see the other side of you? Because that's scary for some. Because you like people being judged or people saying negative things about you.
Yeah.
How did you get past that stage?
So ironically, I've always been an introvert. I've always been a very introverted person. I was the sibling that was always in her room, never wanted to talk. You never hear a word from me. Even growing up, I loved being a lash tech because it's just me and one person in the room. I don't have to talk. Sometimes they fall asleep. It's like, I can spend the whole day without talking to anybody.
Right.
So when God now directed me to a place where it's like, no, you're going to be public speaking. You're going to have a community. You're going to be doing all the talking. It's like, I don't know what to do here. And then also being public facing where I'm sharing my testimony. I'm sharing my journey. It was a struggle at first. And I had to kind of let God guide me through that. But I also had to realize myself that you aren't what you've been through. Your voice is powerful. And I think what the enemy wants to do is to make us feel ashamed of things that we've been through, make us feel ashamed of things in our lives to where we don't share it. But I've found that there's power in having a voice. There's power in showing up authentically and being yourself because there's other people that are watching and they need that. They want to know your story because they went through the same thing. And there's been a lot of women that I talk about certain things. They're like, wow, I've never told anybody this, but I really connected with you on this story or this. And that is what means the world to me, knowing that I was able to help you with that and bring you closer to God because you saw what happened to me. And naturally, I think as I'm getting older, I just don't really care what people think of me anymore. It's like me giving my life to Christ has given me a confidence that I've never had before because it's like, what does your opinion really matter to me? I know myself. God knows me. He's given this to me. There's nothing anybody can really say to me that's going to make me feel bad about myself when I know that my creator loves me. Right. You know what I mean? I know my identity. So
I love that.
I used to struggle with that before. And sometimes here and there, if I see certain things, people on social media, they say all kinds of stuff. Yes, they do. And it can get to you sometimes. So I'm not going to pretend like I'm a brick wall that doesn't get affected by those things. But I think it's just reminding myself, you don't know me. You are just somebody on the internet.
You don't know me.
You don't know me. You don't know what goes on behind the scenes. You don't know what I'm saying in my secret place with God. So it doesn't matter. It's not going to affect me.
I love that. But we're going to take a quick break, y'all, and we're going to be right back. We are back, Boss Women Network podcast. Y'all still sitting here with Miss Jessica. My other question is, how did you know when you were being led by God? Because some people don't hear that voice and they don't really know when they're being led, because you changed your whole trajectory and went on a completely different path because you heard God speaking to you. So how do you know when you just know?
Right. So I feel like having a Christian background already helped me a little bit, because I've seen my mom pray. I grew up around the church and prayer warriors. And from a young age, I've had like visions and dreams of seeing things, and then in real life it would happen. So I would know that's God.
That's true.
And so when I got in this space and I'm hearing these things, most of the time, like, I love doing lashes. So if I'm hearing a voice that says, hey, you need to stop because you're going to do this, it's not me. It's absolutely not me.
Right.
That's not my own thoughts. God was calling me to do something that I think a part of this is reading the word. So I have to be in a place where I now read the Bible so I can know who God is and I can know what his voice sounds like. So when I'm reading the Bible and I'm seeing, okay, this is the character of God, this is what it looks like when God has spoken to his people. Now when I'm hearing something, I can match it up. Does this match up to the word? And it did. God was calling me to a place where of sacrifice, like turn away from your selfish desires and do something that's going to help everybody.
Yes.
Not yourself, not just profiting money, but you're going to bring people to me. You're going to provide something for them that is purposeful. So hearing that, I knew, okay, this isn't me. And it was hard for me to automatically do it, even though I did, because I gave up comfortability. I gave up my independence. I went from being somebody that has always been able to take care of herself, being somebody that had a lot of money, to giving that up, moving to Houston, staying with my sister and her husband. So now I'm living with other people.
Yeah.
I'm not able to sustain myself. I don't have a job. I'm doing nonprofit work. So it's not like I have income coming in. So these are things that I would have never chosen for myself.
Right.
But God put me in this place to be dependent on him. And I saw the fruits of that. So I think when it comes to knowing if God is speaking to you or not, you kind of have to analyze, does it match up to the word? And this thing that I'm being called to do, is it for me or is it going to help everybody else? Because God doesn't do anything for selfish desire. He does it for the greater good that helps everybody else and for his glory. So I feel like that's when you kind of know. If it's a selfish thing, then it's like, it may be me. If it doesn't match up to God's love, but if it's going to lead you to sin, that's not him.
Right.
So just kind of analyzing that and then spending time with God. You don't know God's voice if you don't spend time with him. So investing in spending time with God, building that relationship with him so you can know, this is my father. There's a verse in the Bible that says, my sheep know my voice and I know my sheep. So as a shepherd, if a shepherd's in the field, once he says something, the sheep come running to him. They know his voice. If it's a stranger passing by and they say, hey, come here, the sheep don't move. But if it's a shepherd, they all run. So why? Because they spent that time with him. So it's the same thing with God. When you spend time with God, you're in his presence, you're reading his word, you know his voice. And God talks to everybody differently. Some people hear an audible voice. Some people dream. Some people have visions. Some people can be spoken through by the word. So it just is learning how God speaks to you. And I knew how he speaks to me. So
I love that. So is it for somebody that doesn't have a relationship with God and they want to learn, even just trying some of the steps, even though they may transition to doing their own thing, but just to get started, what are some of the steps you take daily to strengthen your relationship with God?
Right. So I would say finding a church home is a big thing. And I know some people are kind of weary about the church.
Yes.
And a lot of people have church hurt, and I think that's valid because some churches aren't doing what they're supposed to do.
Right.
But outside of finding a church home, I think first is reading the Bible. Because the best thing I did for myself when I rededicated my life was like studying the Bible, not just reading it, but studying it from Genesis. I started from Genesis and I said, I'm going to read the whole Bible. So every day I would read 4 chapters and it was the best thing I could do because I knew who God was. Like I'm reading these things and I know the Bible may sound boring to people, but there are good stories in there that are real. And I was so interested and I was so in awe of who God is. And that just made me want to learn more about him. It put me in this place where I can hear him, and I didn't have desires that I used to anymore, like in the world, because I'm so in tune with God and knowing that, oh, I want to be holy. I want to be like this person in the Bible. I want to be like God. So I think reading the Bible and really being intentional about learning about God, because if you want to do something, what do? You learn about it.
Right.
So I went to the source first and I read. And I think another thing that people don't think of is just asking God to help. Like, we are so used to trying to do things on our own because we know what to do, but a simple prayer of, God, I want to know you. I want to give my life to Christ. I don't know what to do. And God will help you. God loves, like, he literally wants everybody to come to him and have a relationship with him. So when you cry out and you say, God, help me, he will provide those steps for you. Like, you'll just start hearing things, or you'll feel led to do certain things. And even he'll bring people in your life that will guide you. So you'll just start hearing things, or you'll feel led to do certain things. And even he'll bring people in your life that will guide you.
But anyway, you said getting your church home, strengthening your relationship with God, and just talking to him and asking him to guide you are some of the things. Was there anything else that you want to say?
Yeah, so when it comes to finding a church home, reading the Bible will help with that, because you can use your knowledge from the Bible to analyze, is this church for me? Do they have the fruits that the Bible is talking about? Are they really leading people the right way? Does it match the character of God? So that's when you're able to assess, okay, this is the right church. And I think you should assess yourself. What do I really need in my walk with God so I can know this is where I should be? For some people, when it comes to church, they just really need a good sermon. Like, they really are focused on the word. Some people it's worship. Some people it's community. So figuring out what is most important to you in that aspect, and going to churches that provide that for you. And then another thing is, like I said, some people are weary about churches today, and they have that church hurt from not being treated correctly in church, or feeling judged, or that kind of thing. And I just want to remind anybody that feels like that is to remember that we're all human.
All human.
The church is supposed to be a representation of who Jesus is. We're supposed to, but people fail in their flesh.
Yes, they do.
And so we need to remember who God is. If I know that God is good, God is faithful, he loves me, he would never do this. Okay, then it's the human flaw. It wasn't God, it was them. So let me give God another chance because I know him, and let me either go to another church or forgive them and still find God in this aspect. So I don't want us to write off the whole aspect of Christianity or building a relationship with God because this church, the people in this church failed you, but God didn't fail you. So let's try again and go somewhere else, because I think in other aspects of life, we try things again. You lose a job, you go find another one.
That's true.
People, like, even concerts and artists, you can go to a concert, they're 3 hours late. You might go to the next one and still show up for them. But it's like when it comes to God, oh no, this church did this to me, I'm never going to church again. That was the church. That wasn't God. So it's remembering, no, this is who God is and he loves me. So let me keep trying and find somewhere that's going to fit for me and help pour into my relationship with him.
I love that. Girl, you're good. So when somebody joins your community, what are some of the things they can expect?
So joining Jesus Walks with Her, we do provide Bible study. So it used to be weekly, but once I got back into school, my schedule was a lot more busy. So now we do every other week on Wednesdays is Bible study. We do have prayer line on Mondays in the in-between week. And then also you have a community of women that you can talk to. You can be honest with, like, hey guys, I'm struggling in this. Can you help me? Or what have you struggled with? Or can y'all please pray for me? And sometimes we just have calls where it's just girls talk. Like, let's get on. where are you at in your relationship with God? Like, what do you want to talk about today? Let's support each other in that aspect. And then also we host in-person events in Houston. Our first in-person event was last year in the summer, and we did a praise and paint. So instead of sip and paint, it was praise and paint.
I like that.
It was praise and worship music. Everybody had their canvas. We had an instructor come, and we all were painting. We did games. We had a giveaway. It was really nice. People enjoyed it. And then we started doing something this year called Treats and Testimonies, where women can come and share their testimony, and we're all there. We have treats, we have food, that kind of thing. The one that we did win an award for was called Reach Out World, and we actually partnered with Oasis Church for this. And it was a day where we were trying to preach the gospel to the world in one day. And so basically they sent devotionals out to different ministries, and we were one of those, and we went out into the Houston community, and we partnered with another nonprofit. I can't remember the name of it, but it's called Fresh Project. Yes. Okay. Fresh Project in Houston. Every Monday they go into downtown Houston and they feed the unsheltered community. Oh, okay. So we partnered with them for this event. And while we were there, we passed out devotionals to everybody we saw in downtown Houston. We preached the word, we praised, and we fed people, and we clothed them as well. So that was the event that we also did then. And recently we had a event called New Wives Sanctuary for recently engaged or married wives, and we gathered, and it was to help them. A lot of people, they get married when they're young, or they just don't have the guidance they need. They don't know what it means to be a wife. And me that got married this year, I experienced the same thing.
You got married this year?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I experienced the same thing, and I was in this phase where I'm like, I'm so used to knowing how to do things and being successful, but I don't know how to be a wife. I've never been a wife.
Yeah, then you didn't see your mom.
Exactly.
Your dad.
So I'm like, okay, I need help with this. And so I had to really rediscover myself and walk with God in that area. And while he was taking me through that, I'm like, I'm pretty sure there's other women that feel the same way. So let me provide an event where we can all come and we can talk about these things. And so we had a panel with women that have been married for 15, 20 years. And they were answering the questions that some women are too scared to really ask. We talked about intimacy. We talked about postpartum. We talked about submission. So many things that, you know, we may be struggling with, but don't want to talk about it. So that was the most recent event we had in August. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So next year we're hoping to have a lot more since I'm graduating this year. So
congratulations to that too.
Thank you.
So what is there an age group that you
we're pretty open to everybody. I would say it starts at 18, then it's pretty open from there, just because of some of the things we talk about and that
different ages where you can learn from women from all ages.
Yeah, so it's pretty open to anybody being able to join, just as long as you're a woman, you want to learn about God, or you're on your work with God, then yeah.
Oh, good. So how, if somebody wants to sign up for the organization, how can they find it?
So you can find us at JesusWalksWithHer.org. That is our website. Or you can find us on social media. On all social media, it's Jesus Walks with Her. So that's the way that you can find us. You just go on the website, and it has everything you need to know about the organization.
So I naturally ask you these questions on here, and I didn't even realize I was just going. So what's one message that you would want to leave with some young girl or woman starting out today? On their path, on their journey with business and with God.
Okay, so I would give the advice to know your purpose. That's very important. I think today a lot of people are aimlessly doing things, and maybe they just want to have money and things like that, but that long term, it doesn't lead you anywhere. You're going to get burnt out. You're going to be directed anyway when you hear something good that sounds good to you, or when there's a price on the table when that may not be the right decision with you. So know what your purpose is and stick to that. Don't bend, don't change. Know your purpose and show up confidently. Stand up for yourself. Invest in yourself and have faith. I think those are the things that really have got me to where I am now and built this confidence with me. Even before I rededicated my life to Christ, I've had so many people that told me, no, this isn't going to work. You're dropping out of school to do this, or that doesn't make sense. Why don't you just go get a corporate job somewhere or this and that? And I feel like if I would have just listened to that because it sounded good, and it's not even that it didn't make sense. It does make sense to do those things, but it didn't make sense for me because that's not my purpose.
Right.
So knowing what my purpose is and standing firm in that, no matter what things look like, no matter what your bank account looks like, no matter what people are saying, no matter your state of emotion and mind, is sticking to your purpose and walking with God in that. There's a lot of things people ask me, how did you know, or how did you do this? God told me, because I submitted it to him. There's things God has shown me. There was an event I had and I was trying to figure out what I should do. I had a dream of the date and what the event was going to look like. And that's what I stuck to because God showed me. God can give you insight that man can't. So walking with God in your purpose is the recipe for success.
Wow. Well, there you have it, guys. Walking with God is the recipe for success for those that haven't gotten their relationship with God or their walk with God yet. I'm working on it. I'm a work in progress myself. So this was definitely a message for me as well. But Jessica, thank you for joining me and sharing your story of resilience and faith today.
Thank you.
Your purpose-driven entrepreneurship and everything. Your journey reminds us that success is not just about profit, but it's about building impact and legacy and in a faith-filled community. So to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to the Boss Woman Network, where we inspire and love to have guests on here that can inspire you and motivate you to be the best you in anything that you would like to accomplish in your life. So again, thank you for joining me today, Jessica.
Thank you for having me. And if y'all want to follow me on social media, my personal is Jess the CEO. You can follow Jesus Walks with Her at Jesus Walks with Her. And then also my business coaching is ceosolutions.co.
All right. Until next time, guys.
Bye.
Bye.